measures against the perceived errant leaders affiliated to the party.
With respect, advice that we get also from the ground, so we just don't think from the top of our heads and do it. And our point person, as far as Matungu and Kabuchai is concerned, also happens to be our whip in Parliament, Honorable Wangwe.
The decision of the party to shelve the fielding of candidates in Matungu and Kabuchai, I want to thank the party so much through USG, convey my sincere appreciation to the party leader, His Excellency the President, that we have really done it well in terms of now moving in together and leaving it to the other friends to the Jubilee Party, that is ODM, ANC, and Ford Kenya, especially for Kabuchai and Matungu.
The decision by the Jubilee Party comes even as Wiper unveiled its candidate for Machakos senatorial by-election. The move by Wiper is seen as a last-ditch attempt by Kalonzo Musyoka to regain lost grounds in Machakos.
We think we have the best candidate with the best vision, and because time is not on our side, we're going to hit the ground running.
And with the support of the party and the people of Machakos, I know I will deliver this seat.
A bitter fallout between Musyoka and his former allies has led to the formation of Maendeleo Chapchap and United Democratic Alliance parties that shall both field candidates in the by-election.
Nimeshangaa sana na kiongozi wa Wiper akienda kufuta mtu wa Jubilee na huko anawaletea watu wa Wiper ili ajibu Mudhama ambaye walikosana kisiasa. Hiyo ningependa kuambia Mudhama kwa heshima, tukija ni rafiki yangu, asijibu haya maneno, tutamujibia kwa vile ataka kufuruga familia za watu.
Elsewhere, the United Green Movement has unveiled David Barasa Kabeti as its choice for Kabuchai constituency by-election. The party says Kabeti was picked based on inclusivity and virtues.
Vijana hoye! Vijana tibim!
Meanwhile, ODM leader Raila Odinga has cautioned youth against falling prey to politicians of deceit.
Nataka vijana kutoka hapa mbebe bandera ya ukombozi. Tunajua pale Kenya imetoka na pale Kenya iko. Najua pale ambayo Kenya nataka kwenda.
Na pia ni safari ya kuunganisha viongozi ya vijana ya ODM na Jubilee wakuwe kitu kimoja. Ili handshake iwe handshake mashinani.
Youth must decide the destiny that they want. Hatutaki mambo ya kuyumba. Leo youth ako hivi, kesho tunakuona tanga. If you are white, you are white. If you are black, you are black.
Speaking when he met hundreds of youth in Nairobi, Raila urged Kenyans' young generation to vet leaders on their development track record before casting their vote. For Channel 1 News, I'm Gladys Mungai.
The Council of Governors maintained that it was not consulted on the return to work formula signed between the Ministry of Health and the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers on the 1st of January. This even as the Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe declined to confirm if indeed the counties were consulted, opting to instead say the national government is acting as an arbitrator. Yusuf Farah with details of the deepening health crisis that appears to be turning into a game of musical chairs.
The long standoff between healthcare workers and governors continues, with the latest blow directed the healthcare workers' way. Council of Governors Chair Wycliffe Oparanya saying those who fail to resume work as per the law will face disciplinary action.
Any health worker who absconds from duty will be dealt with in accordance with the law. No worker should expect to walk out of their jobs and then walk back.
The council further faulted the healthcare workers for violating the law by failing to resume work despite court orders.
The court also issued interim orders to suspend the strike in the case filed by the Ministry of Health versus Kenya Union of Clinical Officers and Kenya National Union of Nurses and Kenya National Health Professional Society and others.
Healthcare Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe, on his part, said the national government was acting as a neutral arbitrator.
We further note that the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers signed a return to work formula with the Ministry of Health on 1st January 2021. The Council of Governors was not consulted prior to the execution, and as such has not signed the same.
Out a harmonious working relationship, but we have no intention as a national government of usurping the role of the county governments as far as health management is concerned. We cannot in law go and tell a county government whether to hire or to fire any of its workers, let alone the healthcare workers.
The COG pointed out COVID-19 has affected all professions, and should other professionals take the direction the healthcare workers have chosen, the economy will ground to a halt. Yusufar, Channel 1 News.
Let's take a look at the COVID-19 situation in Kenya. The Ministry of Health is warning parents to keep their children at home if they suspect they could be infected with COVID-19. This comes amid reports that one student is among the 123 new cases of COVID-19 reported in the country in the last 24 hours. The latest data continues to point to a one-digit positivity rate. Beatrice Katonyang-Etich with the latest details.
Barely 2 weeks after schools resumed after nearly 10 months owing to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ministry of Health has reported one positive case among a student. Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe, releasing the daily figures of the prevalence rates of the virus, urged parents to monitor their children as they go to school.
If you have got a positive case, then you should keep your children at home so that the health workers can come and carry out tests to ensure that you do not send your children at home to school when they have got positive, when they may be positive. That would help ensure that we do not start a spread in the schools. And as soon as we identify any cases, any positive cases, we'll essentially isolate them until they test negative.
Kagwe said the virus has continued to spread among Kenyans, with 123 people testing positive from a sample size of 4,948, bringing the country's total tally to 98,555. Among those who tested positive, 111 are Kenyans, while 12 are foreigners. He said 74 are males, while 49 are females. The youngest is a one-year-old baby, while the oldest is 85. He also noted that the positivity rate has been encouraging in the past several weeks, but urged Kenyans to observe the containment measures since the country has just come from the festive season.
When you look at the positivity rate that the country is experiencing over the last a couple of weeks, you can see that our positivity rate has been very encouraging. However, given the fact that we have just come out of the holiday season, given the fact that our children have just gone back to school, we want to maintain a very high level of vigilance and maintain the measures that are in place so that we can observe if there is any surges as a result of the cases of the holidays.
The CS said Nairobi still leads with 62 cases, followed by Nyeri with 9, Embu 8, Busia 7, Narok 6, and Kajiado 5.
412 patients today have recovered from the disease. A lot of them, 378, from the home-based isolation care, while 34 are from various facilities.
On a sad note, 4 patients succumbed to the pandemic, raising fatalities to 1,720. Meanwhile, the CS received 50 health workers from Seychelles, noting that the government will engage governments that will require Kenyans' assistance with medical personnel.
And we want to engage these governments so that we do so formally, so that our workers, may they be health workers or other workers, can go and work in a formalized format.
Beatrice Katonyang-Etich, Channel 1 News.
A Form 3 student at a school in Kisii County accused of stabbing 2 teachers has been released on a cash bail of 50,000 shillings after denying the charges. The 17-year-old is reported to have stabbed the 2 teachers during a scuffle as they objected to the mode of punishment for lateness.
The Form 3 student was arraigned in court to answer to charges of attempted murder a day after he is alleged to have stabbed 2 teachers as he objected to instructions to kneel down for turning up late in school. Appearing before Senior Resident Magistrate Steve Onjoro, he denied the charges of stabbing Edward Mukaya and Elvin Mato. The court granted him a cash bail of 50,000 shillings and a bond of 100,000 shillings and directed he be remanded at Manga Children's Remand Home pending a pretrial hearing on January the 27th, 2021. For Channel 1 News, I'm Serafina Robbie.
The upcoming Kenya-Japan Business Dialogue Forum formed part of the discussions between President Uhuru Kenyatta and Japan's Foreign Minister Toshimitsu Motegi. The meeting with Motegi, who is in the country for a 2-day visit, also focused on Japan's continued support to Kenya's development programs and infrastructural projects. Separately, the president held a meeting with the outgoing United Nations resident coordinator Siddharth Chatterjee, who is taking up a new posting in China. President Kenyatta congratulated Chatterjee for his successful tour of duty in Kenya and wished him success in his new assignment. And in other matters, senior government officials came face to face with the challenges facing learners in Baringo County affected by floods, who continue to learn under trees in the harsh weather conditions. The students are also using tents as their dormitories owing to lack of funds to put up facilities despite parents donating 30 acres of land to the school. This comes as senior government officials continue to tour schools to assess learning after months of closure.
These were the scenes that greeted 3 principal secretaries and the government spokesperson Cyrus Oguna when they toured Salabani Secondary School in Baringo South. Learners barely protected from the scorching sun in their quest for education after their classrooms were washed away by floods.
The way the students are learning under shrubs, and at the moment it's actually a hot season, and most trees are going to shed leaves, and they will not get enough shade. We thank the students because they are really enduring the situation.
The students were to be integrated at Sabor Secondary School, which is about 30 kilometers away, prompting the parents to donate a 30-hectare piece of land to construct a school which currently has only 2 classes, and they use these tents as their dormitory.
Students are living like military officers, staying in tents which you cannot even stay inside these tents during daytime. And because of this corona issue, piling students in one such small tent is equally risky.
The school is seeking assistance to build infrastructure.
Government has been able to release 19.5 billion shillings, broken down into 4.6 for primary schools and 14.9 for secondary schools, to be able to support management of this process within the school, at the same time be able to facilitate the observance of the containment measures against COVID.
Meanwhile, in Narok County, 3 principal secretaries and a chief administrative secretary toured various institutions, hailing the county for reporting a 90% turnout in school, despite being among the counties leading with teen pregnancies.
A few schools that we visited yesterday in Narok West, where at least we are getting about 92%, and most of those are because some of the students either left at home, and we are following that up. Our county commissioner and the team are following up those students who have not yet reported to school.
Clearly, this disease has also created necessity for government now to look at infrastructure. And this is our recommendation will be that going forward, we have to reprioritize more, so that we see more funds given to schools to expand the facilities.
I would want to report that we have released 19 billion shillings to our schools, 14.9 billion shillings for our secondary school, and 4.6 billion shillings for our primary schools as capitation. Within this capitation, we have 15 billion shillings in the total capitation of 60 billion that we usually release to our secondary schools, 5,000 shillings per child that we set aside for maintenance and improvement of our infrastructure.
Tumeridhika kwa sababu shule nyingi zimezingatia maagizo ya Wizara ya Afya kuhusu corona. Tumeona wanafunzi wengi wako na barakoa. Kuna sehemu ya kuoga mikono na sabuni ama maji inayotembea.
In Kirinyaga County, 98% of learners have reported back to school. LAN's Permanent Secretary Nicholas Muraguri, who toured schools within the county, put school heads to task to account for those who have not resumed learning.
What is important that every effort is being put and deployed by government and partners to ensure that we can trace and be able to facilitate the child to come back to school. And it has been impressive. I mean, there's no school we have gone where the headmaster is not aware where the child is. Tell you the child is admitted in hospital. The child is like this, like this. I went to the other school and you call that school, they confirm, yes, the child was able to go.
For Channel 1 News, I'm Safin Aching Oma.
Retired Chief Justice David Maraga has told governors that they must play a leading role in the fight against corruption in the country. Maraga says corruption remains Kenya's biggest enemy and must be fiercely fought for the survival of dwindling economic resources. The retired Chief Justice was speaking during a luncheon organized by the Council of Governors days after he handed over the reign at the judiciary.
In a hearty nugget of advice to county bosses, retired Chief Justice David Maraga has told governors that they must rid counties of the ghost of corruption. Maraga told governors that corruption remains Kenya's greatest impediment to economic prosperity.
The country loses at least 1/3 of the national budget to corruption. As a result, after paying salaries and defraying other aspects of recurrent expenditure, there is little left for development. What does that boil down to? Is the stagnation of the growth of the national economy.
Governors have often been accused of doing little to curb graft in their counties. Despite receiving billions of shillings in budgetary allocations every year, counties are still struggling to show value for money.
It is your responsibility to formulate appropriate implementing policies to equitably share the county resources to all parts of your various counties.
Retired Chief Justice David Maraga said that Kenyans must mount a sincere crusade against corruption, even as he challenged the judiciary to double down on corrupt practices.
Are the heads of the county governments charged with the responsibility of formulating policies on the proper and the equitable utilization of county resources? As such, as county leaders, you are, in my view, an obligation to have as your top priority the anti-corruption crusade. You are, in my view, an obligation to ensure the frugal utilization of the resources placed in your hands.
The Law Society of Kenya, in the meantime, challenged county bosses to be excellent ambassadors of the Constitution by obeying court orders.
Nurses and the clinical workers have come to me. They have asked me to plead with you to see if you can obey court orders. If you do these things, amongst many other things, the rule of law and constitutionalism that Justice Maraga has stood for will flourish.
You say that some counties, and you have mentioned a few, do not respect court orders. And also remember that as various governments have gone to court, including my own, and even Machakos plus others, and also they have received court orders declaring the strike illegal. And we are hoping that also the unions will have to respect that. Of course, we have not refused to sign if there is proper consultation.
David Maraga retired from the judiciary on Monday, having served as Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court for 4 years. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
Report by the United Nations Development Programme UNDP is warning the planet's immediate risks are human-made, including climate change, rising inequalities and the recent emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic. The report paints a grim picture in which a surge in development is taking a toll on the planet, resulting in, among others, an increase in transmission of diseases from wildlife to humans. Emily K. Bade with details of the report dubbed The Next Frontier, Human Development and the Anthropocene.
The COVID-19 pandemic is the latest crisis facing the world, but unless humans release their grip on nature, it won't be the last. This is according to a report by the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP. The 30th Human Development Report 2020 reveals that although many countries have made gains in development, the pandemic may have hurt overall human development, calling on world leaders to take bold steps to reduce the immense pressure that is being exerted on the environment.
But our actions, particularly our dependence on fossil fuels and material consumption, are driving not just climate change and biodiversity collapse, but ocean acidification, air and water pollution, and land degradation. We are destabilizing what we rely on for survival at unprecedented speed and level. The COVID-19 pandemic, which almost certainly sprang from animals to humans, is the latest harrowing consequence of planetary imbalance.
Speaking during the launch of the report in Nairobi, Chief Administrative Secretary, National Treasury and Planning, Nelson Gachuhi, said the country is undertaking active measures to reduce emissions and enhance vulnerability, as well as focus on a post-COVID recovery process.
The recovery strategy will prioritize policies, programs and projects which generate broad-based inclusive economic growth, as well as foster job creation, reduce poverty and inequality, take into account climate change impacts, and meet the 17 Sustainable Development Goals and the Goal of Africa Union 2030.
University of Nairobi Vice-Chancellor Professor Stephen Kiama called for the need to contextualize freedoms in the context of taking care of the planet.
Certain actions that disrupt the planet because we don't have the right values. And how do we ensure, therefore, that we have the right values and the right ethics? I think the book, the report, tries to elaborate quite a bit on this, on how various practices can be adopted by communities. So we must adopt the right values, ethics, and attitudes. We must have compassion over the planet. We must think about it, that for our generation and the generation to come, what are we leaving them on?
The Human Development Reports makes recommendations for change that generate attention and debate among stakeholders and policy makers, as well as raise public awareness of ideas about human development. They promote resource mobilization in key areas of development and trigger responses to the needs of the most vulnerable in the society. For Channel 1 News, I am Emily K. Bade.
Thank you, Emily K. Bade, for that report. Channel 1 News Hour takes a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more news.
Enda pale kwa balloon Wakenya, gari ndio hii. No, sorry, kifungu ndio hii gari. Ni furaha ile niko nayo. Msijali keti. Wacha tupeane mali ya wenyewe.
Ni vizuri tupe watu vitu zao.
Uchukue mali yako. Uchukue mali yako. Hiyo ndio shamra.
Hiyo ndio shamra ya quick bid.
Umeona? Umeamini?
Nimeamini kabisa.
Hii inaitwa nini?
Hii inaitwa kifungu.
Na hii inaitwa nini?
Toyota Probo.
Mpatie kifungu hiyo.
Shika ingine. Ndio ya kuendesha.
Onesha.
Na wewe unaitwa nani?
Naitwa Steven.
Steven nani?
Kahuho.
Nakwambia. Uliwekelea bid ya ngapi brother?
1772 peke yake.
We. Na ndio amejishindia Pro Box. Sasa hii Pro Box inakusaidia aje?
Itakuwa inanisaidia kazi yangu ya kuuza matunda.
Unaambia je watu wako nyumbani ambao watakuona na hii?
Wote wacheze na quick bid. Ukweli.
Ni ukweli.
Kabisa.
Sasa tufanyie vizuri. Ingia upate mizigo yako bana. Ingia utoshee ukae usikie. Inakutosha sawa? Sisi tulikwambia ni aje? Bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini. Bidhaa bora kwenye bei ya chini.
Jiunga na Quick Bid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. Quick Bid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Kumchukulia kwa mfano ndani ya matatu.
Yaani mtu mzima na miaka zake hizo miaka zote. Mtu hajui kujua kuandika note. Note tu peke yake.
Nauliza, ni bwana?
Don't you dare insult me, okay?
Mama Angel.
Let the dead bury their dead, right?
Haya, kwani umeficha? Ni nini wewe? Yaani wataka kumpiga? Huwezi mpiga, mpige nini?
Every Saturday and Sunday, KBC rejuvenates your weekend with gospel tunes and strengthen your faith with the word. As we bring you Seventh-day Adventist Sermon, Saturdays at 10 a.m.
In the Bible, we can find answers to life's most important questions.
The Holy Mass on Sundays at 9:30 a.m.
Mwana kondoo wa Mungu aondoaye dhambi za dunia. Tazameni yeye anayetuponya magonjwa yetu yote ya mwili na ya roho.
The All Saints Cathedral at 11 a.m.
Pray that the Lord Jesus Christ may raise you to be a witness.
KBC Channel 1. On the next episode of Ashoka.
Before killing Sushim, we must kill Ashok and make the rumors of his death come true. After that, I will send Sushim a message which he is waiting for. Sushim will definitely come to meet you.
I wanted to share a lot with you, Karniki. A lot. I wanted to tell you the truth about me. I wanted to make you realize that not every Magadh citizen is bad.
You have hurt me the most now. I shared every wound on my heart.
Ichok is searching for you desperately. He won't let go of any chance to kill you. Do you want to give him that chance?
It's 1:30. Thank you very much. If you're just joining us, this is Channel 1 News Hour. The Constitution review process seeks to increase the period required by the Supreme Court to hear and determine a petition as pertains the validity of a presidential election from 14 to 30 days. Tonight, our political reporter Kevin Washira looks into Clause 27 of the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020 that seeks to amend Article 140 of the Constitution.
Article 140 of the Constitution of Kenya gives any person the power to petition the Supreme Court to challenge the election of the president-elect within 7 days after the date of declaration of the results of the presidential election. The Constitution gives the Supreme Court 14 days to hear and determine the petition. Proponents of the Building Bridges initiative view the 14 days given to Supreme Court as inadequate, hence the introduction of Clause 27 in the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020. Clause 27 of the bill proposes to increase the period during which the Supreme Court is required to hear and determine the petition on validity of presidential election from 14 days to 30 days. This seeks to provide more time for the hearing and determination of any petition challenging the election of a president-elect. Kevin Washira, Channel 1 News.
A semi-trailer truck lost control and plunged into the Indian Ocean as it attempted to board the MV Kilindini ferry. Kenya Ferry Services Managing Director Bakari Gowa said the truck got stuck at the prows of the ferry before plunging into the ocean, though no injuries or deaths were reported. 2 days ago, a similar incident occurred when a tour bus plunged into the ocean.
The Kenya Ferry Services is once again in the news 2 days after a bus plunged into the ocean at the Likoni Channel. At 14:15 a.m., the Kenya Ferry Services got an alert that a semi-trailer carrying tiles from Tanzania had plunged into the ocean. According to Hassan Shaban, the front tires of his truck got stuck at the ramp and couldn't move.
Nimeteremka vizuri hapa na gari taratibu, nimekuja na gari taratibu mpaka nafika pale kwenye ferry. Ikaingia gari zile tairi za mbele, zikaingia pale kwenye ile bati la feri, zikaingia zile tairi. Kwa maana kuingia zile tairi, nikasikia hiyo umekita, kama ile gari imekwama, ni gari kenda ikakita pale kwenye feri lakini baada ya pale kukita, zile tairi zilikuwa zimepanda pale juu kwenye feri. Ikabidi nijaribu kurudi nyuma, ikashindikana. Kwenda mbele ikashindikana, yani ina maana ilikuwa imekwama pale.
Shaban says he stepped out of the truck to alert the coxswain before his truck slid and plunged into the ocean.
Kwa hiyo pale nikabidi niteremke kuchungulia chini, gari imekwama, ile show pale imekita. Nikaenda kwa dereva wa feri, nikamwambia mzee, gari imekwama pale, umesikia ule mlio uliolia? Akasema yeye nimesikia. Baada hapo tunaona feri inatolewa, inasogea. Kwa kila ile feri kwa ikienda, gari ikawa zile tairi ziko pale juu, ikawa inashindwa kujizuia, ikawa inasogea. Kila feri ikisogea nayo inasogea.
The Kenya Ferry Services says the accident was caused by low tides and not the slippery ramp as earlier reported.
Magari makubwa kama haya yanavukishwa wakati maji yako juu kabisa, tide ikiwa very high. Wakati huo hakuna surface ya ramp ambayo iko weight, maana maji yako juu. Kwa hivyo masuala ya utelezi hayaingiliani hapo. Utelezi utaingiliana tu labda wakati kumenyesha, na pia siku ya leo hatukuwa na mvua. Kwa hivyo hiyo pia tunataka kuiondolea kama labda ni sababu ambayo inaweza kuchangia kwa hili gari kuweza kuingia ndani ya maji.
Goa urged ferry users to familiarize themselves more with using the Liwatoni footbridge to help curb accidents along the channel. Reporting for Channel 1 News Hour from Mombasa County, I am Ann Mburu.
And in other matters, James Kinyanjui, the mason who was killed alongside 4 family members in Kiambu County, has been laid to rest. Kinyanjui's family has called for an expedited probe into his murder. Elsewhere, a section of leaders in Turkana County has decried the rising cases of insecurity in capital. The leaders, in calling for an end to the hostilities, challenged the government to do more in bringing lasting peace in the restive region.
Friends and family of James Kinyanjui gathered at the Kiambu Cemetery to bid goodbye to the Mason days after his brutal murder. Kinyanjui was among 4 family members killed last week in Kiambu County.
Tungetaka haki itendeke juu ya huyu mtoto, kwa sababu kusema kweli yeye kifo ilimkuta hivyo tu.
In Kakamega County, police are investigating the death of a pastor in Ikolomani constituency. Penetena Nabwangu was found dead in his house with a punctured skull.
Security wanaweza kutusaidiaje? Because hatujui nini imetendeka na huyu mama. Tumempata tu asubuhi kama amekufa.
Meanwhile, a section of Turkana leaders has called for an expedited probe into the cause of the runway insecurity in Kapedo. The leaders are accusing a section of security forces operating in the region of doing little to curtail criminal elements operating in the area.
The fact that no action, severe action, stiff action has been taken since Sunday up to now indicates Matiang'i team, and particularly the county commissioner team that is in Turkana, are actually in bed with militias.
Elsewhere, a 37-year-old man has allegedly committed suicide in Lurambi, Kakamega County. The body of Simon Akonya was found dangling from a tree.
Aliponinyonga mimi nikapika nduru, ikabidi niwache watoto nikakimbia nichiokoe juu alikuwa kama mwandazimu. Kuamkia ndio nikasikia amechoua kwa fakato ya nyuma.
In Laikipia County, drama ensued at the Nanyuki Teaching and Referral Hospital mortuary when a family that came to collect the body of their loved one only to be presented with a different one. The family, which made rounds viewing the body, said they cannot bury the body of a person they do not know, demanding that they be presented with the body they had come for.
Tuliangalia tuliruhusiwa tuingie, wale waliingia wakapata sio hiyo, na hata saa tena bado wale waliingia tena bado sio hiyo.
Meanwhile, National Police Service Commission has called for better communication strategies in the police service to enable seamless working environment in the service.
Kwa policy ambazo tumeweka kuhakikisha utendaji wa kazi wa polisi uko katikati ya zile hali ambazo zinakubaliwa, policy tulizo nazo ziko za kutosha, na tumeomba maafisa wa polisi wawe na kipimo kulingana na vile hali wanavyokabiliana nayo ilivyo.
Finally, Rift Valley Regional Coordinator George Natembeya has warned police officers against complicity in the sale of illicit brew in the region.
Pombe inatoka Nyamira, inatoka Kisii. Hiyo pombe inapitia wapi? Ama inakuja tu? Lazima inapita kwa barabara. Na hii barabara tumekuwa na maafisa wa usalama kwa hiyo barabara, sio? Tumekuwa tunajiuliza pia sisi kwamba hiyo kazi wanafanya kwa barabara ni gani? Kwa sababu sio kwa barabara, askari wanakuwa barabara kwenda kurokota pesa kwa wale ambao wanaleta pondo kwenda kuja kuua watu.
Natembeya spoke days after Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i directed the police to double down on the manufacture and sale of illicit brew. Reporting for Channel 1, I'm Jacqueline Masharia.
Let's take a look at some business news now. Maina Kiondo is the newly appointed Acting Director General and CEO of the Lapset Corridor Development Authority. He replaces former CEO Sylvester Kasuku to become the second CEO of the authority since its inception in March 2013. Until his appointment to the helm of the authority, Maina Kiondo served as the Director of the Northern Corridor Development at the Ministry of East African Community and Regional Development, operationalization and commissioning of Lamu Port, construction of the Lamu-Garissa Road, conclusion of land acquisition activities along the Lapset Corridor. He said, among others, his priorities. An agriculturalist by profession, Mainda Kiondo holds an MBA project management and is a member of the Project Management Institute. He replaces former CEO Sylvester Kasuku, who served 2 full terms, which came to an end on 5th January 2021. Maina Kiondo becomes the second CEO of the authority since its inception in March 2013.
The Lamu Port construction.
And in other matters, stakeholders in the hospitality industry are hoping for a sector comeback in the meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions tourism niche, as it remains the only alternative after a decline in foreign tourist arrivals due to COVID-19 pandemic. The optimism is pegged on increased meeting bookings by local and regional corporates for 2021.
The festive season gave the tourism sector a much-needed boost after experiencing a long dry spell. However, in the first 2 weeks of 2021, the sector has recorded a decline in business attributed to the scarcity of foreign arrivals owing to prolonged restrictions resulting from COVID-19 pandemic and other competing priorities locally.
This year has started off very positively, and we are optimistic that the MICE industry should do extremely well this year if we as a country and as Kenya can really try to position ourselves well within the MICE business using the Kenya National Convention Bureau.
But the hospitality industry players are hopeful that the MICE segment will recover after the sharp decline experienced in 2020 and the first 2 weeks of this year.
The inquiries that have been received are from local and regional companies mostly. However, surprisingly, a small percentage has come in from the international corporates, which was a real big surprise.
According to the chairman of the Kenyan Coast Working Group, Hasnain Nurani, before the outbreak of COVID-19 virus and the subsequent introduction of travel restrictions and social distancing guidelines, the MICE segment in Kenya presented a promising growth avenue for the industry seeking to diversify tourism offerings. Regina Manyara reporting for Channel 1 Business.
Tomato farmers in Rombo Kajiado South constituency are calling on the government to reduce taxes on agrochemical products to make fertilizer available and crack the whip on those selling uncertified fertilizer and seeds. The farmers say that without these safeguards, the high cost of inputs will see them incur massive losses.
The tomato fruit in Rombo Kajiado South constituency is a major income earner for farmers. In the past, a 100-kilogram box of tomatoes would fetch more than 8,000 Kenyan shillings. However, this is in sharp contrast to the current situation.
Na inatukalia sana kwa maana saa zingine unapata umengangana na shamba, umengangana alafu ikafika mahali ukaishiwa na pesa. Kuishiwa na pesa, sasa itabidi mdudu anakula.
The farmers have also stemmed their compounded woes to unscrupulous businessmen and unfair trade practices as compared to their competition across the border in Tanzania.
Unakuta broker anaita tajiri kutoka Nairobi. Anamwambia njoo, nimeona nyanya za bei rahisi. Kwa mkulima fulani amelemewa na mzigo wake, kwa hivyo inatakikana tumnunulie bei. Sasa unakuta broker ndiye mtu anatoa nini? Anatoa bei na ile yale bado hamjawasiliana.
Kwa upande wa soko Kenya unapata tunaumia sana. Maana unapata Kenya nyanya inawekwa sanduku inawekwa sanduku kubwa sana, na unapata sasa kuna history kama hizi gari kutoka Tanzania. Hizo gari kutoka Tanzania ndio zinaokoa sasa wakulima wa huku, kwa maana unapata wao watupi nyanya sana.
They are now calling on both levels of government to come up with regulation of tomato packaging to avert exploitation of farmers.
Sasa tunaomba kama government inaweza toa ile VAT iliwekwa kwa mambo ya agrochemicals. Tunaomba kama watatoa itatusaidia sana wakulima wadogo.
Loitoktok is renowned for its farming activities, and it is a Kajiado food basket owing to the plenty supply of fresh water from Mount Kilimanjaro utilized in farming activities. Alanauko, Channel 1 Business.
And in sports, Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Mina Mohammed has expressed optimism that Kenya has a lot to gain due to the return of the Safari Rally to the World Rally Championship, with thousands of international and local tourists expected for the event. Organizers have exuded confidence that the rally will be a success despite its postponement due to the COVID-19 pandemic from last year to June this year.
Postponement of the return of the World Rally Championship to Kenya, the Sports Ministry has reiterated the country's preparedness for the international event that is set to be held in June this year.
Most of the work has been done. Some of it will be completed in very, very good time. We are hopeful that by May, 1st of May, we should be ready. And I'm looking at Phineas to nod. We should be ready with everything set. The simulations you've seen today, I indicate to you that our teams are really ready. Our safety, our security, our medical teams are ready to roll. And so we are at a very good space as we speak, today.
While supervising safety and medical simulations at the KWS Training Institute in Naivasha, Sports CS Amina Mohammed revealed the government has injected over 600 million shillings into preparations for the event.
So we're very, very pleased with where we are, with the investment we are making, the returns that we will have, the people that will be attracted to our country, the images that we'll have from our country, the new standards that we are setting, for international motorsporting. It just shows the capacity that we have in our country, I think, the potential that we have to host many more events. And so we're all looking forward, we're all excited that this is going to happen this year and every year after that.
On his part, Safari Rally CEO Phineas Kimathi said the country would be holding the Africa Rally Championship in April in order to gauge the country's preparedness.
The Africa Rally Championship is going to give us a feel of our roads, a feel of our timing system, a feel of our medical and safety preparedness. Thus, we have two experts from FIA and WRC who are working with us to make sure that all the preparations are ready. And we also have an expert in communications who's advising us on exactly how to carry the message across the world.
The Safari Rally is scheduled for the 24th to 27th of June and is expected to rake in 6 billion shillings.
Gospel FC were on fine form as they thrashed Ztech Sparks 5-1 in an FKF Women Premier League Round 3 match held at the Steamer Members Club. Elizabeth Wamboi broke past Ztech Sparks' defense to put Gospel in the lead in the 7th minute, with her counterpart Cheryl Angachi maintaining the tempo with a goal in the 9th minute. A brace from Mercy Airo, either side of Ztech consolation goal from the...
Tuseme tu wote ni students, inakuwa ni ngumu sana sababu unajua hata wengine wamekuja tukawa wameingia na wengine walichelewa juu tulikuwa na exams, watu walikuwa wanafanya exams.
So happy for the win. We really expected to have a win. Now that we've gotten a win, we're definitely out of the relegation zone. Now playing the other two matches, aiming to get back to top 3 as we are looking to get into the knockout stage of the competition.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight. My name is Edward Kabasa. Simon Karotha has been our sign language interpreter. I do wish you a very wonderful night ahead. Yusuf Farah is coming up next with the weather forecast.
A very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Channel 1 with the updates. My name is Yusuf Farah, and tonight rainfall is expected in the western parts of the country with dry weather conditions dominating the rest of the country, and strong easterly winds of up to 25 knots are blowing over the Marsabit County and Nyeri and Eldoret are the coldest tonight. Temperatures are there dropping to 12 degrees Celsius. Let's now take a look at how your tomorrow morning will be like. And we'll be waking up to sunny intervals from the northeastern region, areas of Garissa, Mandera, Wajir and Isiolo, all the way to the central parts of the country, the capital city and its environs. The same will be experienced in Mombasa, Malindi and Kilifi and areas of Western and Nyanza. Now let's take a look at the afternoon, where Kakamega, Kericho, Narok and Kisii will be having showers accompanied by thunderstorms. Remember to keep warm in this region. Sunny intervals continue to dominate at the coastal region all the way to the northeastern region, where a strong sunny intervals will be expected. In areas of Lodo all the way to the Lake Turkana Basin, expect a sunny intervals in the afternoon. A look now at the temperatures, where Mandera goes to a high of 37 and Lodo as well, lows of 23 and 24 respectively. Marsabit highs of 30 and lows of 18. Kisumu highs of 27, lows of 19, and Nairobi highs of 26 and lows of 15. On that note, I complete the local weather focus. The international weather forecast is coming up in a bit. Again, many thanks for keeping it Channel 1. I'll be seeing you tomorrow, same time, same place. Until then, have yourselves a lovely night.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design and soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 227428 Thika branch, 0725 000-706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.